Okay, we're recording. So we were thinking today we would do a little eBay journey to learn more about Jake's process and my process for how we scour eBay. Probably 99% of the time we're just checking prices and seeing what's up, and maybe 1% of the time looking to buy. But hopefully going into it in depth and looking up some searches and some listings and some other tools on the web that we use can be helpful to other people in their eBay adventures as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Jake, can you see my eBay homepage?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. So the first thing, I was just looking at this listing you sent me of someone who is selling a $1 million Pokemon card collection, someone actually hoping to interview at some point. But maybe for our first search, we should start out with something that costs less than $1 million. What do you typically check up on eBay?
So on eBay, when I was buying a lot more, I tended to like the auctions. And so one thing I would look up is I would just type in Pokemon. And
check auction.
Yeah. And then honestly, I would go and then instead of best match, I would put in like highest price. Is one thing I was always interested to see. I was always interested to see sort of what the highest auctions were. And sometimes if there were too many, what I would do to filter it is I would go into the advanced option and I would make it so that I could only see auctions that people had bid on. So I would go like number of bids from, and I would go like 1 to 1,000, which would cover anything within Pokemon. So let's see what's going on here. So these would be some of the highest, auctions, and often this would be a good way for me to find like really big lots that might be undervalued. And I used to, like, every time I would do this, I would tend to find deals. Now it's much harder because there are a lot more people, I think, looking at these things, and everything's a lot more expensive. So we can see here there are some interesting big auctions up.
It's interesting. BGS 8.5 Charizard first edition.
Yeah.
So I want to watch that one. So let's say we want to check a price. I mean, what I would typically do is search something like Charizard. This is a trick I use with parentheses to create options. So some people spell first edition like this, some people spell like that, and it'll capture both of them. You can say both ed and edition. And then we'd probably want to search for both PSA and BGS. And then if you put the minus sign, it excludes search terms. Like, so we don't want to search for anything that's in Japanese. I mean, we're going to get other languages too, but French I see is pretty common. We can exclude that one. And what I do here is just make sure that we're in all categories, because sometimes eBay automatically sorts things into the wrong categories. So here's everything that's up for sale right now. If we do all listings, looks like all of them are auction, but you can go down here to sold listings and then see what's actually sold recently. And here, instead of searching by price, I just want to search for the ones that have ended recently. So what are the most recent prices? So we're getting a bunch of stuff like Dark Charizard here. I could just exclude Dark from the search. So the most recent BGS 8.5 went for 11.5 thousand, August 30th. Jake, what do you think of that price?
Well, whenever I see one bid, I wonder what's going on there. I don't assume that that's like a genuine buy. It also means that someone could have bought it. See, relisted this item right there. So exactly right. So they didn't actually buy it, and now it's relisted.
And then the relisted thing also ended with no bids. So this one didn't actually sell.
So you just have to be really careful when you look at this stuff. Even if we look at, like, let's pick another one of these with like lots of bids, like any of them.
Just any item.
Yeah, any of the ones that had like a lot of bids. We can.
This one is in Dutch.
Yeah, what I like to do is I like to look in here. I like to see how, like, this is just me personally. I like to see how many stars people have. I like to see if it's just like one person bidding it up or two people with very low rating bidding it up, which makes me think it might be shill bid. If I see a lot of different accounts, bidding and they seem to have enough stars, that makes me more confident in that the prices are real or genuine. People are actually buying for it and paying for it. So combining the fact that it doesn't come back on eBay for a while, with, that's the biggest sign. And obviously it wasn't bought if it comes back immediately on eBay. But the other things you can look out for are particularly on these auction ones, who's bidding. If you click on these guys' names, you can see like, how often are they retracting bids? Who are they bidding on? So the bid activity for this person is 25% in the last 30 days have been with this seller. So that's high, but that doesn't mean this guy doesn't have a lot of bids. This could be a card that he really wants. This could be a unique card. It can tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of this is, this guy only 8% with
Right.
this seller.
And then
has
this
a lot of
third
bids,
one.
a lot of different things.
Yeah, so I'd say, just guessing, right? These 3 buyers, 1, 2, and 3 over here, seem legit. And according to their bids, at least, they were all willing to pay at least $1,000 for the card.
Yeah, this looks legitimate to me. It's an unusual card. It's a Dutch card, so it could easily be that there are a few people who have unique interest in this that don't buy lots of Pokemon cards. Might be buying.
And you could try to regrade it for a 9.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whenever someone writes that, I almost never buy the card. Just for all of you like sellers out there, to me it's like, okay, this person is like kind of, is trying to manipulate, me or the audience, or I'm irritated by.
The most irritating thing to me is when a card is not PSA graded, and they'll put like PSA 10 ? In the title. And so it comes up in your searches for PSA cards. It's not PSA graded, and they're just like making it up. Like, oh, this could be a PSA 10.
Yeah, I'm going to put all like my PSA 1 cards and write like PSA 10 ? grade. Like, it's silly. So just like my advice, and maybe that stuff works, but like I would just show the picture, do high res pictures, and be trustworthy that way. And I think you'll actually end up developing more people who want to buy from you. So right. PWCC has been this is a monthly auction that happens that a lot of the record prices right now in Pokemon have been coming from these PWCC auctions where there's just so many eyes.
And so they're like a broker, right? They help people sell cards. They do the transactions on eBay for you.
Yeah. And they add protection, they do the listings for you, those sorts of things.
Right. So going back here, it looks like, if our question was how much is an 8.5 Charizard first edition worth, this one, PWCC sold it, looks totally legit, about 14.5 thousand.
But then for Beckett, what's really key is the subgrades.
Mm.
And so an 8.5 can have very different subgrades. So this is 8.5 plus, which means there are no 8s on it. So this one is...
there's 1, right? Surface?
Yeah, so there is an 8 on this. What did they write in the listing?
Said near mint to mint plus.
Oh, near mint to mint plus, yeah.
I guess that's just what Beckett calls an 8.5.
Yeah, and so this is 0.5 away from a 9. If the surface was 8.5, it would get a 9. The way Beckett works, so it's only 0.5 away. So this would be considered like a strong one. Although some people don't like 8s on Beckett, they would prefer like all 8.5s or something like that. So I don't know. People have different things they look for on those Beckett cards.
I wanted to share an example, like some of my favorite cards that I like are the first series in Japanese. And I was looking to one day maybe get the Verse Series Charizard. I think it's actually called Lance's Charizard. So I'll try it like this, Lance and Lance's. Sometimes people spell it a different way. And if I want one in PSA, I just add this search term here. So right now it looks like if I wanted to buy a 10, I'd have to spend $500, but I would always do this, just check the sold listings first. And so something like this, right, I think we've talked about this before, if the price is crossed out and says best offer accepted, there's also a weird quirk on eBay where if you're looking on your phone, the price won't be crossed out. It'll just say or best offer accepted, so you have to be careful. You can always check how much that sold for. And so there are a couple of websites that are useful for this. So one of them is called flippertools.com. And so here you can just type in the item number, and it'll try to look up how much the actual offer was. I've had the same issue with Flipper Tools before, where like it's down or it's not working for whatever reason. Another website someone's recommended that I really like, that I use now more frequently, is called 130point.com. So here you can just do search eBay sales. You can do the exact same thing, put in the item number. So it looks like this one sold for 350. And then I always go back and try to check shipping, because sometimes people have these really expensive shipping costs. This one was free. What's also nice about this website, 130 Point, is you could just put in your eBay search term here. So whatever I searched on eBay, I can just paste it in there and it'll show me the entire recent set of listings and how much they actually went for. So this one was the best offer at 350. The other ones were just sold the regular price. This one was 350. Have you used this website before, Jake?
No, I only use Flipper Tools generally.
Mm-hmm. I want to share what.
The other thing is, when it's not crossed out, it doesn't mean that it actually sold for that, which is annoying on eBay. There's something where the seller can offer people like lower amounts, and then it won't show that. I've seen on eBay, and I'm no eBay expert in terms of like how they do that or when they decide how they decide that. I don't know if you've ever experienced that.
Yeah. So actually, yeah, I've experienced that both as a seller and a buyer. So as a seller, what's interesting is if you want to send an offer to people who've watched or viewed your item, at least right now, you can only do that from your phone, from the eBay mobile app. And so in the app, if you go to what you're selling, it'll say like, these are the items that you're eligible to send an offer to buyers. And then when you send an offer, the buyer will receive an email. And the email says like, you watch this item at this price, seller has offered you a special discount, like watch out because X number of other people also got this discount. So for the buyer, it doesn't show up as an offer, it shows up as an email or notification that says it's like a discount. In my experience, when I've been watching those items and they have sold for that discount, it will say on eBay that the price is crossed out. And even if it doesn't, this website 130 Point will catch it. So I was recently watching something, I know the seller offered a discount because I received it too. Someone else bought at that price, and that was the price that showed up here on 130 Point.
Okay.
I wonder how that is as a tactic. I'm really curious as a seller if it's like stupid to do that or not. Like on the one hand, you could say I'm going to strategically price an item a little bit higher than the market, and then everyone's watching it, I'm going to send them an offer. So then even if that's the original price you're willing to sell it for, it feels like to everyone that they got a deal. On the other hand, sometimes as a buyer, I've felt like when people are sending me those discounts, they're desperate, right? It's like you put an item at buy it now with no best offer. You made it seem like that's what you were willing to accept and that's it. And now that you're lowering the price, it seems like it's a little bit desperate. So now I'm going to try to counter offer and go even lower and lower. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could go either way with that. I think it's all about the getting a sense of the feeling of what's going on. I think that what is strong about it is you can't just send an offer back from it. From my experience, you have to accept it or decline it. And so the offer, of course you can send an offer, but once you send an offer back, that discount is off the table theoretically now. And so I think that can put pressure on the person. Well, it is a really good deal now. They did come a lot. I should accept it. So I think in terms of negotiating skills, it's a pretty nice thing that it's a pretty nice option for the seller, I think. Yeah. So the other things that I would do. So if I know what card, and this is something I do a lot. If I know what cards I'm looking for, my basic strategy, because there's so many Pokemon cards, instead of just like typing in Pokemon and like newest, right, and just like seeing whatever's there and trying to like snipe the underpriced items, which I used to do a little bit once in a while to see if I could get lucky and get there right away to get those items that no one else had seen yet. What I would do is I would actually be aware of what I already felt was very underpriced in the market, and I would do direct searches on those cards that I thought were underpriced. Can you
give us an example of one of those right now?
So, I mean, one thing I'm collecting and always looking for are these Champions Festival. You can just type in Pokemon Champions Festival and it pretty much catches everything. And I would go like newly listed because I watch these. These I actually keep tabs on pretty regularly. So nothing new, since I've seen it. but I do this and I refresh this, and I've actually bought a couple of these over the past few months doing this because I'm looking for these specific cards, and I'm trying to, and people will put them sort of underpriced at times on eBay, and then I can sort of either snipe them or quickly best offer them and try and get it. This one is not particularly underpriced.
Yeah. One thing I was going to suggest too that has actually worked really well for me even recently is if I'm doing this for certain cards or certain things I'm looking for, and I see a listing that has an auction starting, but no buy it now option, no best offer option, I'll actually just message the seller and say, hey, would you take $100 for this? I could pay you right now. And if they say yes, and they don't realize they can enable buy it now, I tell them how to do that. You just go to your listing and add buy it now or add best offer. And then as soon as they respond, right, I buy it before someone else can. So it's usually a good way to just like try to snipe something before it could potentially go higher in the auction. Obviously, there's a risk to you too that maybe if it had just gone to auction, like it would have ended up lower. But I found that sellers are very responsive to it. It's probably a win-win for them in a lot of cases, because in a lot of cases they'd rather have money now than wait 7 days for the auction to end and then just leave it to chance to see if the item goes higher. So obviously you still want to make a fair offer, right? Not totally lowball them. But if you make a fair offer and you're like, I think this is maybe 20%, 30% lower than the auction would go and I'm willing to pay right now, I've had really, really good luck with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think why don't we just put in Pokemon and newly listed and just like see what's up right now and see what's going on and see what people are selling.
And just auction? Or you want to include everything?
Let's include everything, and we'll do a little bit of copying of what Z and G does. But it's really excellent way to actually talk about the market and what's going on right now. So why don't we let's just look here. So got some, and why don't we get rid of the auctions and just do buy it now. All right, so the first card interests me. It does say played, but it is a shadowless card, as you can see by the picture. Ooh, it says shadowless base 1 unlimited. I don't know, the listing's confusing, but so we can see a lot of scratches on the holo.
If you were to grade this, what do you think it would get?
Well, centering looks pretty good. Let's look at the back. There are a lot of pictures here. So the back doesn't look too bad. Some whitening for sure. I don't see any like serious denser creases. Overall, it's like a pretty nice card. It's harder to grade with these lower ones. I would say because of the scratching looks very deep and pretty extensive, this could get a very low grade at PSA. It could get as low as like a 3 or 4. This could also be like a 5 or 6. It just depends on how much they hit those scratches. But the worst part of that card is definitely the scratches. And then you do have some pretty serious whitening on like the bottom right. But the rest of the whitening is not that bad. The rest of the whitening is more within like a definite 6 to 7 range. You do have some on right too.
For a card like this, would you ever say like, okay, it could get like a 5 or a 6 with PSA. I'll look up how much that's worth, and it might be worth like buying this and grading it and flipping it, or no?
Yeah, I never would, because the margins of that would be super small, and that's just like a lot of work and a lot of time. And you can generally do a lot better with lots when you do that, because then the margin's much bigger. You send in a lot of cards at once. These shadowless cards have been moving a lot in price.
If you got it for it, would only be worth basically what you paid for this ungraded one.
Yeah. This card is overpriced, probably. I mean, you'd have to get very lucky with PSA to turn a profit, and then your profit would be very, very small at this point. And also, these cards have seen a lot of growth, so as most things have. But like these cards, like that would have been like worth about $10, $15 all day before the price spikes.
Anything else here catch your eye?
Well, let's see here. So there's that new Charizard VMAX that someone's trying to get $800 for it. Absolutely not.
How much do you think it should be worth it in a PSA 10?
um, like $50, $60, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would put this at about the price of that full art Evolutions Charizard when it first came out, and it was $50, $60. Now, what'll be interesting is, and this actually I think has the potential to be worth less than that one, because this one I think is going to have this exact same art but in a rainbow version. And so I think that this
Do we
card,
already know that for sure?
no, we don't know that for sure, and it's possible that there won't be, right? And then this card is a lot better. If there isn't a rainbow rare version, this card's a lot better. But that Mega Evolutions Charizard from Evolutions doesn't have, like, if you want that art, and I think the art is great, you need to buy that card. This one you might be able to get the exact same art, but just with that rare version.
Right.
Now, I think this card is beautiful. It looks amazing. It's really cool looking, but there are going to be so many of these cards, and there's a lot of Darkness Ablaze out there. And if it becomes really popular, they'll just continue to reprint the set, and people will keep grading it and grading it to push the price down. So,
Yeah.
I think in this market, it's definitely not going to be $50, because this market's just so insanely hot right now, and everyone is spending like so much more for any Charizard, way over 50 that's modern. But for me, the card is worth $50 to $60. I think that in this market, we're talking more like $100, $100 to $200 is probably like
Mm-hmm.
pretty fair range when you look at like a lot of other modern. Although there are much bigger egregious offenders in modern than this card is going to be. At the end of the day, this is a Charizard, and this is the first VMAX Charizard, and so there is going to be like some history with it, and and it's Charizard at the end of the day. So
Yeah. One thing also that I think about with modern cards is, so you can think about, at least while the set is in print, the price of a box more or less stays fixed, right? So until it goes out of print, Pokemon will keep printing it and selling it to distributors. And so the question is, what is the expected value of a box, and how does it distribute among the cards? So if this Charizard VMAX was the only desirable card in the set, it could contain, like 95%, it's just a guess, of the value of the set, and then the price would remain high, that high for as long as it's in print. But if the set has other cards that are desirable, either because they're collectible or playable, right, because people play with the most recent sets in the modern metagame, then it actually will push down the price of the other desirable cards over the course of that set being in print. Right. So again, when a set goes out of print, none of that matters anymore, because it's out of print, and so the box is going to go up to whatever the expected value of the cards within it is, plus some margin. But while it's in print, the Darkness Ablaze is a really good example, because it has two other extremely playable ultra rare cards. One of them is Eternatus, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it, V, and Crobat V. Right? Eternatus is like a very popular deck, probably arguably one of the best decks right now, and Crobat V is playable not only in that deck, but in like a ton of decks too. It's kind of like the new version of Shaymin EX. And so because of those cards, like I can't see them going down, each below something like $5 or $10. Like I'd be really surprised if they go that low while they're sort of considered within the format of the modern metagame. I think over the next couple of months, that's going to push the price of the Charizard VMAX down.
yeah, and you can see on this auction, one thing I like to look at is how many people are viewing or how many people are watching, and this one has 25 views per hour. So there's a lot of interest in this.
And
There's
it just got listed, right? So it's like 25 people in the last, couple of minutes potentially.
Yeah. And so there's going to be a lot of interest in that. People have their eyes on that card, and people are looking at the prices, because a lot of people have that card. A lot of people are thinking whether or not I should grade it, and a lot of people are going to probably try and sell it.
How do you think it was possible that someone got it graded this quickly? Didn't the set just come out a month ago?
So people actually were opening this set before the official date that it came out, and in fact, I got mine before. I got our box before. And people do these like rush services and try and get their cards up here as quickly as possible, because often the very first sales are the highest, because there are some people who just like either make a big mistake, investment mistake, and buy it right away, or they just like really want the card and have like pretty unlimited funds, and they don't want to wait a few months till like the market is kind of flooded with them, and they like buying that first one. And so I can't think of any examples where a mass-produced chase card like this didn't go down in value like after the first month or two, because what happens is obviously initially there are only like 10, 20, 30 graded. And then all of a sudden that balloons up to like 1,000,
Right.
over the next 4 or 5 months.
Right.
Particularly
Let's
for a
take a
card
look
like
at,
this,
do you want to
the
take a look at
pull
some
rate of
other,
this card isn't the pull rate of this card is not that difficult. It's not like the shiny, it's not like the Hidden Fates Charizard, which is much, much, much harder to pull. So there are going to be a lot of these guys.
Yeah. Do you want to take a look at some of these lots? I think these are some good examples. So I guess my question to you would be, this was just listed, so theoretical. Well, 14 people have already seen it, right? But we could be one of the first to make an offer on it. How much would you personally offer for this lot?
Let's take a look. We need to take a closer look at the condition and all that sort of stuff. So first of all, what I would do before even like looking at the pictures, I actually do like to see like what they say and get a sense. So I look at the feedback. So 100% feedback, not that many, 172, that's not nothing. And 100% feedback is pretty good. When we go into that, we could see like, are they like, is it all,
Yeah, you want to see received as a seller, not just received as a buyer.
Right. We want to see it all seller feedback. And then we also want to see, is it for Pokemon? Does this person only sell Pokemon? Do they sell different things? I like to get a sense of the seller, what the seller's doing.
And you can click on their name too to see all their current items for sale.
Yeah, we can see what they're doing.
Especially what I do for some sellers who maybe have no other Pokemon listed, you can also look at their sold listings and see how they sold it before. Like maybe they are truly a newbie, right? They don't know what they're doing. And so it might be worth messaging them to like make an offer or help them out or something like that. This person obviously sells a lot of Pokemon and has sold it in the past, so presumably they know what they're doing and they know what their stuff is worth.
Yeah. Yeah, so it looks like they sell, a lot of Pokemon, some different collectible items. Yeah, so once we do that, then I would look at, getting a sense of the buyer. Then I read like what they write about the lot, because usually they describe condition.
Yeah, here this is just the eBay automatically generated description.
Yeah,
so
it concerns me that there's no condition qualifiers, in part because like if there are hidden huge dents and bends and different things on it, they didn't claim that the cards are like mint or gem mint, and then you find that. So, so in terms of like sending it back to the seller, they're not making any claim on what the condition is. So you can ask them, you can reach out to the seller and ask them.
In this case, what I would actually ask for is not just condition, but I definitely ask to see pictures outside of the sleeves and the cases. Because even if you do see flaws, especially scratches and stuff, you don't know if it's on the case or if it's on the card. And the case or the sleeve might hide a lot of the flaws too that you can't see.
Yeah, because these look pretty nice. They seem pretty well centered. I see a little up on the right hand corner of that Ninetales, a little bit of silvering. Yeah, you can just like see that touch there, and that means very likely, and a little bit of silvering on the top leftish as well. That means there's probably going to be quite a bit of silvering on the back. That's just the way these Pokemon cards tend to look. So you want like none of that generally, but there could be no silvering on the back.
But I just jumped to this Gyarados. It looks like it's like bent on top.
Probably got wet. There's some sort of weird warping. That's a weird warping issue too. That is a big no. That card is
I mean, just more generally, when I see, again, going back to like what other items this person has for sale, and like they sell a lot of Pokemon, a lot of their cards that they sell are graded, then I would ask myself, like, there must be a reason why they didn't grade this lot. Also, it looks like these lots are put together in ways where like each lot has a bunch of base set cards and a bunch of other like random garbage. And so they know, right, that that's a way to kind of like increase the price or get people excited about these things, instead of the other kind of reaction I could have where it's like, oh my gosh, I just found something that no one else has found, or I discovered something before everyone else discovered it. The seller did put something that's legitimately potentially very valuable or gradable in a lot.
I mean, this seller honestly knows what they're doing. This is a very well-tailored. They have a lot of cards. They may have bought like big lots of cards, and basically they could be breaking down those lots to make a profit. They put them all up, all at best offer, all with about equal value, and who knows what they're looking for. They might be looking for only like 60, 75 bucks, and they just put way over 150 thinking that someone might throw them that 75 and then they'll accept that right away. We don't really know what they're thinking. But it'll be interesting to see, if these do go.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly, like, they're not first edition, but there are some great WotC, probably very likely these are probably like binder cards. So someone might be looking at these and they have specific holes in their binders. They might look at one of these and be like, oh my gosh, I'm missing like eight of those exact cards.
Hmm.
And I really want those 8 cards. This is the best thing for me. The cards look like to be in decent enough binder condition, most of them, other than that Gyarados maybe.
Yeah.
For me at least. And although, to be honest, it would look good in a binder, right? So let's keep looking at a few more.
I think let's do. I think we got time for one more. So tell me which one catches your eye.
Sure. Well, let's keep going, and then let's see if there's any like really big like lots that we can quickly run down.
Do you ever search for that like lot collection?
I do. I used to do that a lot when I was buying more, and I would actually like sometimes I would just look for like the biggest ones, because I tend to like to buy the very biggest. I tend to like to spend, in the thousands. I like to save up my money and then spend in the thousands on lots. These little lots it tends to be so much harder to make a profit or turn a profit on them from my experience.
So would you just filter for prices that are only that high?
Yeah, I mean, if I was looking to flip and make money, I would start with the most expensive lots, and I would try and buy the biggest ones from people who just really want to get rid of their cards, maybe don't know exactly what they have, all that sort of stuff. So that's Gary's lot on top. That.
But we're looking for.
I thought about buying Gary's lot at one point when it was still
this one.
Yeah, when it was like around the $200,000 range, $250,000 range, and then just like breaking it down and flipping it for huge profit would have been a good move.
But now it's 2 million.
Yeah. Now he's looking for probably like $1 million for it, or $1.2 million, $1.3 million. He's definitely not. I mean, he's putting that very, very high intentionally, I'm sure.
Would you look for something like this, where like the cards are in binders?
Yeah, so this is already a big no-no, because usually on the first page, they're going to show you the best stuff. And this is like mostly not holos. And the price is so big that I probably wouldn't even waste my time to look through this.
Mm-hmm.
So for you
so
collectors,
you go for like lower prices.
Yeah, unless I like had a lot of time, and then I might sift through it to see if like they just aren't staging their lot very well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we're looking for like, like that. Yeah, again, like I'm not interested in bulk. If I'm trying to make money and flip, I want like big lots of, first edition base holos, high graded first edition jungle gym challenge neos. We're looking for a lot of shadowless cards. Mm-hmm. So definitely not these lots. These are not good ones for flips. Let's see if we can find like
something like this.
Yeah, I mean, that looks more interesting. You don't have any shadowless cards on this first page, which isn't a great sign, but you do have some of like the bigger ones. You have the Charizards. Again, it's probably going to be downhill from here. For $2,000, I'm already like, definitely this isn't going to be worth it. Like the odds of it, for $2,000, I want to see like all shadowless on the first page, or all like really heavy hitters or shining first edition cards. That's
again, like if you're flipping it, right?
Yeah. And generally the margin I'm looking for my flips, and if I'm buying big lots, is I want to make at least about 40% on the lot. That's what I was operating on when I used to do it. Mm-hmm. And that includes if I need to break it down and grade part of it, or just break it down and sell it. I'm trying to estimate that I'm going to make at least 40%. That way it gives me a lot of cushion and room in case things don't go well, or something goes wrong, or it's a lot worse than I expected. I can still make some money. And also you're putting in a lot of time and effort, and then eBay is taking a large cut of it on both sides. So you have to keep it in mind, is taking that 10% cut. So being a flipper and reseller is a great way to make a lot of money if you know what you're doing. It was, unfortunately for a lot of people, it was better before because there were just less eyes. But even now, because the market is so hot and people are buying so much, like I know people who are making huge amounts of money right now, just consistently flipping cards, flipping.
One thing I try to do too, just in my head, is think about at what price point is it worth it for me, just like time-wise, to sell a card individually. So that might be, I would only sell a card individually and not in a lot if it's worth at least $20, maybe 30 or 50, right? and then just go through the lot and be like, how many cards, just add up the value of all the cards that are above $50. And for me, if the total of that, like the cards that are worth more than $50, then you want to add another like 15%, because if you sell them, you pay eBay fees, PayPal fees, and shipping. So add another 15, 20%. If I can get it for less than half of that, usually I'm interested.
Yeah. So like this lot, this actually front page is kind of interesting. Now, probably not for 1,500, but for 800. So this would be a situation where no one is bidding on this. No one has bid yet. So I might do a watch list situation, but let's look to see what else is in the lot. Because the first page isn't bad. You have the first edition Dark Raichu, which is pretty good. You have this two Shadowless cards. Pretty decent start. The rest of it, not so much. But you can see it's all Thunder on this, and then those 2 trainer cards. So I'm hoping maybe there's a fire page and
Lightning,
Charizard.
not Thunder. God, Jake.
Lightning, I apologize.
How much? So this Dark Raichu, obviously we have no idea what the condition is. Like I would probably message a seller to look at some pictures of that one specifically. But like making us up, let's say we're talking like PSA 7. How much would that card be worth?
Right now, I'm not even sure, honestly. Like, I'm not following. I used to know all of the prices for everything because I was buying so frequently. Now I'm a bit like, because I'm not buying anything, I'm more just looking at broad trends because I feel like all of these things are overpriced right now and I'm not looking to flip.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this would be something that you would do. You would go to sold listings, right? You'd see what we're talking about here. So this one looks pretty legit. But remember, this is July. Prices have gone up a lot since then for some of these things. Team Rocket, though, not so much for a lot of the cards. So it'd be interesting to see if that might be it. That might be something there.
Yeah.
Team
And
Rocket.
This is also the way that I'm thinking when I'm looking at lots is like worst case what I would get for it. So you could think like best case, right? It doesn't matter what it's sold for. Here's what it's available for right now, and I can try to like beat the other listings by a little bit, so I could try to sell for like 90 or something. That would kind of be best case. And then worst case is it goes for what it went for like 2 weeks ago at this kind of like low auction compared to other auctions before it. So I'd add up the like worst case prices for all the valuable cards in the thing, and then add another 15, 20%, then see if I get it for less than 50% of all that.
Yeah, I take the lowest, as you said, the lowest one that's sold.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I feel like I sometimes even go a little bit below that one to be safe in my head. And then I add everything up based on those prices. And then I try to make 40% on that. So for me, you kind of jump. So nice Lugia in the middle. That's interesting. We've got a Vaporeon first edition, bunch of first editions. Okay. Machamp first edition, which is the most valuable Pokemon card there is, obviously.
They've got like Neo in there too. I'm also trying to get a sense of what else is in the binder, because again, the smart sellers will put all the valuable cards in the pictures, but for other times you could get lucky and they have a bunch of cards they need to put in the pictures, and so seeing what's in the pictures gives you an idea of like what sets they collected.
Yeah, and so far, like my instinct is like, I bet this person valued it at $800. And threw it up as low and threw it up as like that. I'm going to put the low bid at 800 because that's what I want to get for it. And we'll see if people like bid it up. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like what the seller did. Okay. So there's some other stuff in here. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Oh, two of the Gold Star. I think those cards are worth a decent amount. And if they're in mint condition, those are going for a lot. So this is actually, and the Primal Kyogre can go for a lot. But it looks like there's a little bit of corner where, so this is actually a lot that I would contact if I was looking to flip. Mm-hmm. If a lot of these cards are in great condition, this is a lot that you could make quite a lot of money.
Right. Let's just do this for the sake of interest and also like what you would say, right? So I would contact the seller. I usually, try to be like enthusiastic and polite, be like, "Hi, great cards. I'm interested in sense of the condition.
Yeah.
And then which are the big ones that you'd ask about?
And so what I would do on this lot is I would ask, are all of the modern cards pack fresh? Because modern cards these days are often like pack fresh and just put into sleeves. And then he may or may not need to send you a picture. I would probably want those gold cards because the 10s can actually sell for such a premium that I am going to want to see, like, is there like little specific whitening? But I basically want to know, are they pack fresh? Should I expect like pack fresh 9s and 10s, right?
Yeah.
Probably.
And then for the other ones, just let's say, I mean, I will message him, right? So what are the older cards that are the most valuable here?
So, it's like, how much do you want to annoy him, right? So I'd want to know the Lugia. I'd want to know that Vaporeon. I'd want to know the Shadowless cards on the first page, the base set Shadowless cards.
Mhm.
Like if those Shadowless cards if like one of those Shadowless cards randomly is like in gem mint condition, which the odds are like 0 basically. You're an unbelievable, condition here.
Yeah.
And so another thing I would look at, right, is like, is this a seller who has sold PSA cards before? This would be a good option to like look into the seller's history. He doesn't have a lot. He only has 15, very low, even though it's 100% positive. So only one item for sale. So that interests me. This is someone who might be selling his personal collection. They could be in amazing condition. Let's see, has he sold a lot? Oh no, so here he's sold some PSA cards. Great seller, PSA cards. So that makes me think, okay, he is comfortable with PSA. He probably would grade them if they were really gem mint. So that's all the stuff that will go through my head when I'm in that flipper mentality.
Although I guess there's another way of looking at it, maybe more optimistic in this case, is like he might have had this collection. He got all of the cards that were most valuable at the time graded. Like he would think like, these are the cards worth above a certain amount. They're the ones that are worth it to me to get graded and sell individually. But since then, prices have increased. So even something like he had a first edition Lugia, but now even his unlimited Lugia, is potentially worth this much if it's a PSA 10. And so he maybe didn't get graded, months and months and months back. All the cards that now could be worth as much as even the ones he did get graded.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Although you do have some in here like this Kingdra and some of these other things that are similar to his other cards.
Yeah. I still think for the sake of exploration, we'll send the message, see what happens. Maybe in a future video, I'll update you on what he says.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we'll definitely do like more of these because I think it's great, particularly when the market stabilizes and Raffi and I look to maybe start buying again. we can do this, and part of why we haven't been doing videos like this is because we're just not buying into this market, and we're not, and so it's going to be more theoretical right now, these videos, and giving you guys our thought process instead of actually showing you guys like us purchasing stuff, which would be really interesting, great content. So maybe we'll get to doing that sometime in the future.
Yeah, exactly. Also, if this video gets like 8 million, how many views would we need? 800,000 views. We can get the $800 to buy that, bet on that collection, see what happens. Cool. Thanks, Jake.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, right? That's what
like it like 800,000 times.
Smash that subscribe button, hit that like button. It'll help the channel out.